Hey, my name is Eric. In today's video, we're talking about how to start an LLC in Georgia. So this is a meaty video, a lot of resources that I'm going to be including in the description below. But what I'd like to do is first start off with the table of contents to kind of set the table. So what we're going to be talking about are 3 different options for how you can file your LLC. The first is doing it yourself through the state website. The second would be hiring an attorney, but I'm going to show you how you can do this with also getting a free consultation involved as well. So you're not like immediately running up the meter with some attorney. And then the third is also free online tools that you can use to set up an LLC. So some key takeaways in this video that we're going to be discussing is what exactly an LLC is, because sometimes a lot of people get confused about that a little bit, and that's important. We're going to be talking about a term called piercing the corporate veil. So if you're not familiar with that, very important you watch this video. We're also going to be discussing what registered agents are, because that's always a part of setting up an LLC, especially in Georgia. And lastly, we're going to be talking about Learning Center resources. So the first resource I want to share with you comes from inkfile.com, which is a website you can use to set up your entity. And they have a learning center here and start a business checklist. I know it's overwhelming because I have gone through this process of starting my own business and there's so many things to consider. This checklist is super helpful, step by step. Here's everything you should be considering with setting up your business and making sure that you're getting everything set up correctly. So just a helpful resource that you'll find in the description below. On mobile, sometimes you have to kind of click that little down arrow to get to the description. On desktop, just scroll down. You may have to click on show more to get all of the resources I'm going to be mentioning. Next resource I want to mention is from the IRS on limited liability companies. Obviously a very official resource. Now the reason I mention this resource is the employer ID number, an EIN number. You can get an application through this service. A lot of times if you're going through an online tool or an attorney, they're going to charge you a fee for your EIN number. You can do it directly. I will say it is a little bit of a pain in the butt. I had to do this, but this is the resource that you're going to want when you're setting up your EIN. So again, in the description, it's kind of just going to be a library of resources and checklists for you to do as you're getting set up with an LLC. So the first method to set up your LLC is directly through the georgia.gov website. This link will be in the description below. And what you'll find is as you go down, there's 3 different methods that you can do this. You can register online, register by mail, or register in person. If you're registering in mail, you can see that there's articles of organization for LLC. It's form CD30, but then you're also going to need to form 231. And what I don't like about this is they kind of split it up into multiple processes. If you go online, the other thing I don't like is you need to create a user account. It's not really clear to me how you do that from this page. I don't see something that's like, register here. I found that actually not from this right here, because you click this and it's, a lot of information. What you would do is you can click here and then click to create a user account right here, and then follow the steps that were listed in the register online section here. Just know that there's a $100 filing fee no matter what method you go through. If you're going to register online through the state website, if you register online through a free online tool, if you go through an attorney, there's going to be a $100 filing fee. The other thing that I don't like is they kind of split everything up. So they ask you to do your articles of organization, and then they ask you to do this form as well. And then when you click on it, it's kind of hard to find the form, because what you're looking for is form 30, which is pretty far down the page. And the form is really thin itself. Typically, these forms are several pages. They're going to ask you a lot of information. I don't like the fact that they kind of split everything up into multiple forms. So in my opinion, I don't love the way that the Georgia State website is laid out, and I think there are better options for you. So again, it's just kind of like a frustrating process using their website. And what I want to talk about is other options that you can use. But before we get to that, one of the things I want to do is explain what an LLC actually is, because sometimes people get confused by this. Sometimes people think there's a tax advantage to setting up an LLC. There is not. It's about limiting your liability. And we're going to be talking about piercing the corporate veil in a second. So an LLC, basically what it does is it creates a division between your business assets and your personal assets. So your personal assets being your personal home, your car, your personal bank accounts, but then you also have your business assets. Now, if you were to find yourself in the unfortunate situation where you're being sued, the lawyer who is suing your business is going to look for cracks in your LLC. And what he's going to try to do is pierce the corporate veil. So that's just a technical term for finding cracks in your LLC to say that this LLC is not legit. And when that happens, what happens is that division between your personal and business assets disappears. And then when they sue you, they can not only come after your business assets, but also your personal assets. So it's really important that you understand what piercing the corporate veil means. And it's also important that you understand what a registered agent is. When you get set up with any LLC in any state, you need a registered agent. And what that registered agent does is it acts as a third party that is going to accept important documents on your behalf. They're going to forward those documents to you. And they're also going to make sure that they're staying up to date with any kind of tax forms or requests for payments, permits, company filings, or reports. And this person really is going to act in a way where they're making sure that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's with your LLC so there are no cracks in your LLC. And that's very important, like we mentioned, because if you were to get sued and that attorney finds a crack in your LLC and they pierce the corporate veil, they're going to be able to come after your personal assets as well. So an alternative to using the Georgia website is you can go through an attorney. And this service here, I'm not affiliated with them in any way. I've just used the service and I find it helpful. It's called Avo, and they have a lawyer directory. And the link that you're looking at here is Georgia Limited Liability Company Lawyers. But what I would recommend is you can use this filter here on the left-hand side, and I can click free consultation, and it's going to kind of limit the number of attorneys that we're seeing now. And then what I would also do is I want to see attorneys with reviews 9 and up. So this is kind of cool because it gives you a much shorter list of attorneys that you can check out on Avo who have good ratings, and they also offer a free consultation. That free consultation you're going to be looking at is about 15 minutes, so you can ask some basic questions. But if you do go with that attorney, you can expect anywhere between $1,000 to $3,000 for setting up an LLC with an attorney. But if you have a very complex business, like you're doing business out of state, in state, you have a lot of moving parts, it's recommended that you go through with an attorney to make sure that everything is getting set up correctly. It's a good time to mention that I am not a CPA or attorney. I'm just a small business owner who has done a lot of research in this space and went through the headaches, and I want to save you those headaches, so that's why I'm making this video for you. Now, a third option is you can go through an online tool such as LegalZoom. The advantage of going through a tool like LegalZoom is they've actually spent a lot of money making sure that the tool is very efficient and easy to use, because they care, because that's how they're going to make their money if people are using it, and they want to make sure that it's easy to use. The downside of using a tool like LegalZoom is that they charge a $79 fee, which would be on top of your filing fee. In your particular case, that's going to be $100 in the state of Georgia. So it would cost $179 to use this tool as opposed to going directly through the state website. What I do recommend is InkFile. They have this learning center and all these free resources for you, but you can also get your LLC set up through this tool. They've been around since 2004, 250,000 businesses served. Entrepreneur says they are one of the top 360 best entrepreneurial companies in America, so they're a legit service. But the best part that you're probably interested in is that you can do it for $0. Now, I know that probably sounds like, well, how could you possibly do that? How are they making money? I'll explain that now. So what you do is you go to LLC in Georgia, and now if you look at their silver package, you can see that the state fee again is $100, but it's $0 to get set up. And what that includes is they're going to file your articles of organization, unlimited name searches, but also a free registered agent service for a year. Now, if we go back to this page where they talk about registered agent and you kind of go down the page here, this is where they're making their money. So that first year it's free, but then every year after that it's $119 annually. In my opinion, that is not a big expense if they're going to make sure that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's and you have a legit LLC in place, because you want to make sure that there are no cracks in that LLC. But it's good to know that that's how they're actually making their money, is year 2, year 3 off of that registered agent service fee. Another thing I mentioned earlier is your EIN business number. So they're going to try to upsell you into other packages, which you're welcome to do, because this is a pain in the butt to do yourself. But I do have that resource for you in the description of this video if you want to go directly through the IRS website to set up your EIN number. Also know that at the bottom here, what I found is the business banking account and business tax consultation. They actually offer that in the silver package. They just kind of position it and market it like it's an upsell. But as you go through the silver package, those things will be available. Right now, they are set up through Bank of America. And this is really important to mention, because one thing you do not want to do is commingle your funds with your LLC. And what I mean by that is you don't want your personal bank account being in charge of your personal finances and then also your LLC, your business finances. If you were to get sued, they say they're commingling their funds. That's an issue. So that's why in this particular tool, they get you set up with a free business bank account. And then that way, what you can do is you can separate those finances. And again, make sure that you're not creating any kind of cracks, so that if somebody were to come after you, they can't pierce the corporate veil. The last thing I want to talk about is there is a video on the screen now. It's an InkFile review, but in that review, I talk about ways that you could potentially save on taxes by getting set up as an S Corp instead of an LLC. So you may find that review helpful if your business is already generating income. And again, thank you for using my affiliate link if you do get set up through InkFile. I appreciate that, as it helps to support my channel so I can make more helpful content like this for people just like you. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next video.